Probably one of the good things for you about this stage in your life and taking this job is you can actually kind of live where you're working and have your family here mostly. I mean, I know you still have one son still in Florida, but I know your daughter Callie lives out here in LA. Austin, I didn't realize was born down the road in Santa Monica. I don't think people realize how much traveling you were doing all those years with the Celtics between Florida and road trips.
9 years of it, of flying back on off days back to Orlando. You remember the crazy one that everyone talked about was I watched Austin make the shot against against North Carolina. The next night I was playing against the Lakers in Boston, and it was a sacrifice that you make. It really was. And in some ways it was very healthy for me. It kept things in perspective. It allowed me to do more work in some ways because I was flying all the way around a lot private. And so you kind of just focused on family job. And it was a good, it was hard. It was a lot of trouble, but it was a good mix as well. And Red Auerbach, when I even thought about moving, we're going to move my first year, or I was trying to talk to family and thinking about it, and Red calls me and said, don't do that. He said that it's very important for your family to be separate of your job when you're in basketball or in sports. He said, I never knew that Red lived in D.C. his entire coaching career.
Right.
And his belief was that your kids can grow up normal. When you win, they don't get treated different. When you lose, they don't get teased because you're in another state. They're off doing their own thing.
Well, it's funny, going back and preparing for this interview, reading all the press coverage of your career, when the Celtics were losing, well, he's distracted and he's going back and forth. Exactly. And then when they were winning, well, he's got this great perspective, so it's made him a better coach.
Yeah, you know how that works.
I do. And when I saw that Callie, who, by the way, everyone talks about your sons, but she's the hero of the family.
She's the best athlete.
She's the best athlete of all the Rivers.
I really believe that she is absolutely the best athlete. The way we look at it is Winter Park High School is 100 years old, maybe more. And they only have one jersey retired on the wall in the history of that high school.
Wow.
And it's Callie.
This is for volleyball?
Yes, for volleyball.
Wow.
I mean, they won 3 state championships.
Well, I noticed that she got her master's in public relations at the University of Miami. So it occurred to me that when you had your thing with the Celtics and you left and you were getting killed in Boston, did she call you up and say, "Dad, you really need my help," and maybe
she didn't help
send
me
you an
at all.
invoice? No.
She was probably mad I was leaving at one point. But no, she was really happy I was coming. That was a tough period though because, I loved it there, and I still love the people there. The fans are amazing. It's been much made about Danny and our relationship. Our relationship is terrific. But it was the right thing to do for Danny. It really was, and I got that, and it was a right time for me.
We don't have a championship without Doc Rivers. In 2008, he did an unbelievable job. Gets us to the finals in 2010, and a long history of great success with us over the last 9 years. And we wish him the best in Los Angeles.
I take the risk here, and Danny and I laugh about that all the time. I could have just stayed, rebuilt again, which I really didn't want to do. I've done that 3 times, twice in Orlando.
You've been very candid about that.
Yeah, and once in Boston, and it's just hard. People don't realize what that does, and people don't realize when you rebuild and all those losses that you take, forget the record part of it. It's just hard mentally. And I just, at this point, didn't want it. If I had a chance to build a team for a title, I would rather have that opportunity. And, when this presented itself, and Danny and I talked about it, I thought if worked right, it would be good for both. Before I do anything, I have to thank Danny and Wick and the ownership group there, the fans there, because it was an amazing ride. And when I look back upon that and look where I'm sitting now, that's where we want to go. We want to get to that level of winning. I don't mind for the rest of my life talking about that I coached the Celtics, that's a legacy that I don't ever want to run from. You know, I really don't. We won a title there and almost won another one. When I arrived there, they were struggling as a franchise. And our goal was to make it a place that people wanted to come before we won. That was number one. And then a place that you can win again and put a banner up. And we did that. So for me, I have nothing but positive things to say about the whole thing, about Danny, about ownership, and most importantly, the thing that for me, I didn't know Boston. I really didn't. I didn't know the city at all. And you have to live in Boston to get Boston.
What a great city,
It's
right?
a great city, but you don't know that if you don't live there. You don't like them because they win and they have a history. Once you get into that city, you realize it's a special place, and they're fans for real. You know what I mean by that?
I do. I absolutely do. It's similar to your hometown of Chicago.
Yes.
But so December 11th, Clippers at the Celtics.
Yes.
You think they'll boo you?
I don't know. I mean, I hope not. But listen, if they do, they do. You know, some will cheer, and those are the ones that I hope. And but I can't control that, and I never worry about that kind of stuff. I really don't.